Peru, an archaeological treasure chest with its legacy of Incas and Spanish conquistadors. Some sites are even older. This one at Lambayeque, along the northern coast, is a burial place of the Mochicas. They're considered to be one of the most important cultures in the history of Andean society and thrived more than 2,000 years ago. They produced an incredible amount of ceramics, textiles and artifacts made of gold. It's the gold in particular that attracts modern Peruvians. Some are drawn because of what the gold was turned into. Others are lured by the price that the objects could fetch when sold illegally. Francisco Rojas is a single father who supported his family by working the land. But Peru's struggling economy, combined with climate changes wrought by El Niño, changed all that. Now, when Francisco Rojas digs into the ground, it's to live off Peru's past. There is a kind of art to looting archaeological sites. Testing the firmness of the ground is an indicator of what the site might have been used for and what could lie underneath. Diggers have to proceed cautiously because many objects are fragile. Pottery and textiles might interest archaeologists, but they're not so easy to smuggle or sell on the black market. The big money is made by the international traffickers who sell mainly to collectors in Europe and the United States. For the local people, it's a necessity.
Por la desocupación, que la gente se dedica a excavar.
Because of unemployment, people excavate. They excavate for survival. Cayalti used to be a farm, but now the fields do not produce as they used to. So people had to excavate to survive, and to sustain their families.
Like Francisco Rojas, many of Cayalti's residents are poor people eking out an existence while living above hidden treasure. The town sits pretty much in the middle of what was a principal Mochica burial site in Lambayeque region of northern Peru. The local economy has come to depend increasingly on what the authorities call archaeological looting. Carlos Wester is a Peruvian archaeologist who has dedicated most of his career to preserving and protecting his country's national heritage. Most of the looters know him and many fear him too, but despite that, it's sometimes difficult to know where to start in a place like Cayalti. Specially trained police accompany him on raids. They're trying to stop the centuries-old tradition of grave digging, not the easiest of tasks, especially when it's a family business. This man was too busy teaching his son how to raid a burial site to notice the police on their trail. Some of the officers used to fight terrorists, but after a crackdown on rebel groups, they've been redeployed to less dangerous pursuits. Although the tomb raiders have been caught, there is no legislation specific to the looting of archaeological sites like this. Imprisonment is rare, and few diggers have the money to pay fines. So, more often than not, the punishment is confiscation of a looter's tools. That in itself is effective, for a while at least. Carlos Wester runs Peru's biggest archaeological laboratory outside Lima. It's funded by the government and is attached to a museum of ancient artifacts. All the looted items that have been recovered, along with pieces from official digs, are brought here to be cleaned by specially trained local people and filed for further study. There's a real commitment here to protect Peru's rich heritage, which extends way beyond the Inca period that most foreigners think of. A lot of equipment has been donated from the very places, the United States and Western Europe, to which much of the looted material finds its way. The laboratory specialists tend to see items like clothing and cooking utensils which have archaeological rather than intrinsic value. For people like Carlos Wester, the preservation of Peru's past has become a personal crusade, one which defines the country's present and future.
More than a professional challenge, this has become a personal challenge, where I'm convinced that a country that honors its past has a lot of future. And through those lessons that the past gives us, we can plan the future of this nation.
Specialists say that the Peruvian authorities are not providing enough help for their efforts. They are poorly financed and badly equipped. But given Peru's economic and political problems, preserving the heritage is bound to take a lower priority than the archaeologists would prefer. Formal archaeological excavations financed by the government are relatively rare, which usually leave the looters plenty of time to find and dig out valuable pieces. Luis Jaime Castillo is head of the archaeology department at the Catholic University of Lima, the most prestigious establishment in the country. He has directed most of the important excavations in northern Peru. Among the recovered items are mummies that are thousands of years old. Because they were conducting a scientific recovery, the archaeologists spent 6 months working on a site that looters might rob and destroy in a night. Castillo has seen the great importance of involving local people and teaching them the value of formal archaeological excavation and monitoring. That could be profitable for them if properly regulated. He believes education is the key to stopping further damage to Peru's national heritage.
One thing that we know is that if we have more archaeologists in the field, the sites will be guarded. No. One thing that we know is that while you have an archaeologist working a site, nothing happens to the site. So as many archaeologists that we can bring, as many activity that we can bring to the field, the more that we make noise, the more that we demonstrate people that we are making things happen, and that these things have a positive effect over their lives, I think that it will be easier to guard the sites.
The way Francisco Rojas sees it, there's no alternative to securing his family's future other than by digging up his country's past. Any jobs open to former farmers like him are few and far between, and that shows no sign of changing.